Greetings, friends, and welcome to Finding Holiness, the channel to help you discover your sacred sanctum in life. I'm Rabbi David Kadosh. I guess you had to see it to believe it. What took place this past Saturday night on February 22nd, 2020, is a moment that will not be forgotten by those who witnessed the event or by those that heard about it the next day. The Toronto Maple Leafs hosted the Carolina Hurricanes on a Saturday night on Hockey Night in Canada, with millions of viewers watching from coast to coast, both in Canada and the United States. Something transpired that only occurred twice before in the history of the National Hockey League, but never before with so much hype and focus and camera attention. Why? Because it was Saturday night on Hockey Night in Canada. The Carolina Hurricanes lost two goalies due to injury, and halfway through the game, they were forced to call up emergency backup David Ayres, a 42-year-old Zamboni driver for the Maple Leafs farm team. They quickly stitched up his jersey and hit the ice to fulfill what millions of kids dream of when they're young, to play in the NHL. What could have been an utter disaster after letting in 2 goals on his first 2 shots, Ayres, with only basic minor league hockey experience, was able to shut down one of the most lethal offensive hockey teams of the last decade for the rest of the game. The Hurricanes won 6-3. They swarmed upon him like they won the championship. He won first star of the game, sprayed him with water and hoopla, and cheered and laughed when he walked into the dressing room. And as a result, this will be known as one of the greatest sports stories to ever happen. What makes his story even more emotional is that 8 years ago, Ayres had a kidney transplant and was afraid he would never lace up the skates again. But he fought his way back to the ice, and every Maple Leafs home game for 2 years, he would sit in the stands just in case he was called upon. Until he was. The smile on David's face will leave an impression on me and the millions who watched the post-game interview. He was soaking it all in and cherished the moment. The average goalie makes almost $50,000 per game, and he walked out of there with just $500 and the jersey that he wore. But in the end, it's the experience and opportunity that will live with him forever. I couldn't help but take this chance to podcast this piece of news because I strongly believe there is what to gain from this episode, not only from a news story standpoint, but from a spiritual one as well. He who stores during the summer is a capable son, but he who sleeps during the harvest is an incompetent. King Solomon in Proverbs instructs us to make the most of opportunities presented in life. In order to gather during harvest, you must be mindful and alert. Taking advantage of opportunities is a form of gathering harvest. Opportunities come to our lives in many shapes and forms. Some sit mutely by, waiting to be acknowledged, while others eyeball us brazenly in the face, demanding to be snatched and acted upon. Either way, we are wise to perform when the opportunity is present. A wise person once said, "An opportunity of a lifetime must be seized in the lifetime of the opportunity." On the other hand, one who sleeps during harvest, ignoring the lifetime of the opportunity, is a person who lacks wisdom on so many levels and is thus deemed incompetent. Seek out the opportunities that God has placed within your reach. For example, in Genesis, Joseph foresaw the famine decimating the land of Egypt. He used the opportunity and moment presented to him by God, that is, his ability to interpret dreams, to convince Pharaoh that he needed to immediately store the grain during the years of plenty. This not only allowed the palace to defeat the famine, but he and his subjects grew increasingly wealthy, as the residents were forced to sell all what they owned just to attain some grain from the hands of Joseph. Joseph saw the opportunity and he grabbed it. We don't know when our moment will come to shine. Some of us spend our entire lives trying to discover that moment, only to see it slip us by. A lost opportunity that can never be made up. Be that person to reach out to someone in need. Be that person to give that big donation. Be that person to lend a helping hand. Be that person to perform that one act of kindness. Be that person to perform that one mitzvah. Because me'uvat lo yuchal litkon. What is twisted can never be straightened. King Solomon in Kohelet assures us that once the moment of calling passes us by, it can never be fixed. It can never be recovered. David Ayres was asked to do the impossible. The odds were heavily stacked against him. He overcame all adversity and seized the moment. As a result, he walked away a superstar. Stay tuned for the next episode as we search for meaning and spirituality in another one of our everyday encounters. Catch me on Twitter and Instagram with the handle Finding Holiness. Visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/findingholiness and our website at findingholiness.buzzsprout.com, where you can download and check out all our future podcasts. Signing off, I'm Rabbi David Kadosh.